I'm just going to take a wee minute and breathe. Okay, so my name's Sharon. I'm a peer support specialist at Aviva. So what that means is that I bring lived experience of overcoming family violence to my job, both my own use of violence and other people's use. Along with that, I bring lived experience of many other things, and that's what I'm here to share a little bit of today. I've got many stories, and some of them seem to be a lifetime of their own. After being asked to do this, I sat and I reflected on what about me can I share that will serve in some kind of way. It's a long story, it's complicated and it's messy, and in parts it's really dark. The person who stands in front of you didn't always look like this. My grandfather's name was Jack Daniels, that's a true story. And I think that there's so much of me that's just wrapped up in that. So I can recall a time when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I was at a family function. The air was filled with cigarette smoke. The aunties were bouncing off the walls on the way to the toilet. All of the ex-husbands were there. And there was my cousin. She was young and beautiful. She was naked, she was wrapped in a towel, and she was really, really inebriated, and she was falling backwards on the bed. And it looked really appealing and really inviting. And so I made a decision right there that I wanted to feel like she looked, and that's what I did, as much and as often as I could. So I grew older, and I didn't really grow up. Life was a mix of drugs and violence, mistakes and consequences. At first it was exhilarating, and my heart would beat with excitement at what I'd just done or what I was about to do. It didn't end that way. Let me tell you that addiction is not glamorous. It's desperate and it's degrading. I pawned my children's possessions. I spent any money they got gifted. I stole, cheated, robbed and lied. And when there was nothing left to pawn, no beds to sleep in, no furniture to sit on, and I was all alone, I sold my body, and when my body was broken and infected, I sold my soul. In my life, I've been shot and raped, held prisoner in my own home, unable to get out until the person left because I had a baby and I couldn't get to her and get out before he would have gotten me. I've stood in a pub being bitten by a man, frozen and unable to tell him to stop. I've been a registered addict, needing to pee in a container in front of staff at a clinic before being allowed to get my methadone. I've rented houses based on their proximity to the chemist, where I collected my methadone and my ability to leave my children home alone while I did it. I've been beaten repeatedly over the years by a man who said he loved me. Hold on. And I've hidden in the dark, breastfeeding a baby so that we wouldn't be found. I've done ugly things, horrific things that have had huge impacts on other people. I've been filled with so much self-loathing and hatred that I've lived in a house with no mirrors because I couldn't stand to see the person that I'd become. So what happened? My child died. His name was Terence. He was 3 and he died. So the slow descent down turned into free fall into hell. That was my rock bottom. It was a pain of all pains, and there was no way that I was going to feel it. So I did what I always did. I used drugs and bad behaviours continuously, day and night, mostly at the expense of everyone around me, especially the people that I claimed to love. So it was complete and utter chaos. My younger children were removed for their own good, and my older children left home long before that. And one day when I was near death, I had a moment's clarity, and the voice in my head said to me, if you don't do something about your problem today, you're going to be dead by Friday. It was Tuesday, so I weighed 44 kilograms. My hair was falling out. I was covered in using sores. I was working as a prostitute. I had pleurisy and I was dying. I'd never considered that any solution lay in not using. Surely the solution lay in using more, like more and more. Halves, quarters, different order, yours, mine, theirs, his, hers, somebody else's, but none. You had to be kidding me. None it was. So I took away the substances and I was left with a person that I really didn't like. I had no social skills. I was a compulsive liar. chronically dishonest, no morals, and I was unable to nurture relationships. I could barely walk. Life didn't seem to have taught me the things that other people seemed to know instinctively, and I'd been cast out of everywhere that I ever wanted to belong. There was so much anger, so much hurt, and so much pain, and I had to look at those things that I'd run from for so long. So the me who stands here in front of you today, built by those experiences, is a long way from that person. And the biggest, most beautiful irony that I find standing here today is this, that the person that I told you about had no time for other women. You were my competition, the source of most of my rejection and abandonment issues, and you had nothing that I wanted. And I say that. You did have things that I wanted: husband, your handbag, your fancy perfume, and your beautiful stuff, maybe your money, and what seemed like pretty easy lifestyles. I didn't know that I needed woman to be a woman. I was having sex with men, lots of men. Didn't that make me a woman? So this is a love story. It's the story of learning to love myself and of learning to love you, the woman that I need. You see, it's a good thing that I can't manipulate you, and that you don't give me what I want when I batter my eyelids. I have my own beautiful stuff today, and I no longer covet yours. I've just come back from Bali. Me, the girl who sometimes couldn't find the door. I remember once I'd been partying at a house, and I left early in the morning, and I was walking in the neighbourhood, and there was people, they were taking their children to school, and I was out there in a haze, walking amongst them, and I got just down the road, and I realised I'd left something behind. When I turned around, I didn't even know what house I'd come from. So that person, I've just come back from Bali on my own. Last year it was Bangkok, and the year before it was Kathmandu. Being with other women is gifting me the ways that I need in order to learn to be gentle. My children came home, some to live, some to visit. One still lives at home. One was going to be here tonight, but her daughter's sick, and so she stayed home with her. I've got 9 beautiful grandchildren. They've never seen their nanny used or coming home in a police car. They haven't seen me with a black eye. Most of them haven't even seen me smoke a cigarette. And I see now that you have lots that I want. I want your softness and your ways, your laughter and your wisdom, and I want your capacity for love. I want your resilience and your uniqueness. So this love story is also a story of joy and of faith, of hope and of freedom, and I'm blessed. Thank you.